The purpose of this video guide is to demonstrate the use of the NextService mobile technician application. Please refer to PoolWorks help menu for a guide on how to install the NextService application. Once installed, you'll open up to this screen. You'll see NextService and you'll see date banners separating the task list. On each day, these are set in chronological order, starting with the earliest time. You can see the client's name, priority of the job, as well as the type of the body of the water and the address. Should you click on this pin icon, you'll open the maps up in your device and see the route view. So we click on a job to start it. First of all, we're going to see again the client and the priority, as well as the body of water, the address, the time range that has been set in order to perform this task, any specific case details. If it's in a regular program, it will show as such. The staff that were booking in the job may add specific task details, such as don't forget to sign off, and any other internal notes that they want you to see before or during the job. The asset, now the asset in NetSuite Talk is the body of water. So quite often we keep notes on the asset record, which carries over between the different types of jobs and services that might be scheduled, such as gate codes, any specific instructions that that client has dictated. You'll then see some detail about the task case and project numbers. You can see that it's a pool clean, otherwise you'll see gold service, for example. You can see that it's a delivery and it's for weekly. Before we start the job, we can click on contacts and we can click on the mobile number, and that will be a push to call function. We can also email the client directly from the app. That will use your standard device email client. Otherwise, we can get started by clicking start, and it will log the time right down to the seconds that you got on site. Working down the application, we can add a sales order for billing based on the test results. And to add a sales order, it's really important that we follow these steps. So click the plus button to add an item. If you have an Android device, you can use the barcode scanner. You can pick from the drop-down list, or you can also search for an item. For example buff, that will shorten down the drop-down list, and you can see that there's the internal item code as well as the item description, and the words that you type into the magnifying glass will search on either. So I'm going to put buff in. And find some salt. Now this is extremely important. Once we've completed the last item that we're putting into the pool, rather than clicking plus to add this item, we need to click the back button. And you'll see that the salt was added to the total order. Without doing this, you will add a blank line. For example, the quantity. If I click plus and then I hit back, you'll see that I've got a blank line here and I don't have a green checkbox up in the corner. To remove this blank line, I click on that line and click minus, and it'll come back to the complete order. You'll see that there's now a green checkbox. Without ticking this green checkbox, this sales order will not create in the system, and it will essentially lead to lost data. So please make sure you're taking those steps to make sure the green checkbox is ticked. What this is doing in the background is it's talking to NetSuite to create this sales order transaction so that the billing staff can immediately bill. All of this information is actually being comprised of a task service report as well. You'll notice that the cloud has stopped loading and we've got a sales order number now. You've also got the amounts in your currency. That means we can move on to the next step. So if we click on the Details tab, you can add some actions taken, which will be client-facing and show on the service report. For example, scrub the steps. This would be actions taken over and above the standard checklist, which is included in this application. Again, we're seeing our asset notes here. You can also add internal notes. A lot of the franchise partners add these internal notes as a communication tool between the technician and the billing staff. If the asset record had any information on it as far as the pull volume, width, etc., that would appear here. We can also capture using the touchpads on your smartphones, the employee signature and the customer signature. Click Save. It's really important before you move on that you ensure that that little cloud stops spinning. Now, if you needed to update any of that asset information, you can do that from within inside the app. So if you're poolside, you can update, say, the capacity, the length, any information that might be relevant. You can also update the asset notes. So next time you come and service the body of water, you've got this information. This is a great place to put any notations as far as the brand of filter, any information that's not available here that might be useful to know before coming on to the job next time. Our next step is forms and safety. Have all the required forms been completed? If yes, check the box. If no, leave it blank. Is the environment safe? Leave it blank. Check fencing, not regulation, for example. Within the history, this would show all past tasks, service history, including their readings. This is a new job, so it doesn't yet have any history. This is not based on the projects, contracts, the cases, any work that's been done. All of this information is stored on the asset record, the asset being the body of water. So even if the client changes hands, the body of water stays the same, the history is stored on the asset. Readings, this is where you'll enter your readings. For example, there's a range here. This will go on to the service report, the status of the pool. Again, we're waiting for the little cloud to stop. And again, you can add any files here. These can be any files and you can add multiple. I would suggest that you do need to be mindful of the size of your images. These will just go into your camera roll. I'm just adding one image here, however you could do more. Now from here, if I needed to add another task, so I have come to site today, I've performed what's needed, and we now need to come out again. It's really important that you use one task for one site visit so we can record the on-off times, and that gives your client transparency as well. So from the app, you can add a new task. You'd select the type of task, so you might need to, say, have a fence inspection. You can select the date and the time, so I might not need that amount of time. Click Save. And separate to this, as an additional feature, if this task has not been complete and you needed to reschedule it, You usually would do this first. You wouldn't have gone through all the steps, but if you did need to reschedule it, you can reschedule this same exact task for another time and another date. Click complete, and you can see the clock off time. I go back to my application and I can see that that task is grayed out, which means it's complete. From here, the billing staff and scheduling staff would be able to see on the scheduler that this task is complete and would be able to move forward with sending the service report as well as billing. For the next steps, please review the scheduler guide on PoolWorks Help. But as part of this training, I'd like to demonstrate the service report so you can see how all of the information that you've entered is compiled. So on the scheduler, the task is grayed out, it's complete, and there's a checkbox. I then go to the task record. I can see all of the information is stored, including signatures and the timestamps, as well as the safety checklist. I click Service Report. The service report is loaded, working from top to bottom. You've got your subsidiary details. You've also got the time that the technician started and completed the job, who the contact is, and the type of case. Now working down from top to bottom, we've got the actions taken entered, all of the readings, the sales order information, which now comprises this chemicals, parts and equipment added section, our job safety assessment, including any notes, and the signatures captured. Below here would be your files that you've added with the notations that you've made on them. On these service reports, if you do not complete any information, for example, actions taken, then this would not appear here.